Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, hello, hello, hello. Before I start, I want to make sure that no one here requires a sign language interpreter. Okay, great. Then I can stop signing and speak directly to you. First, let me say good evening and thank you so much for your attendance. With you, I would like to share with you my blessing between two worlds. You see, in my world growing up, when I would have to get the attention of my parents and some of their friends, I might have to wave my hand and pound the table or stomp the floor, maybe even flick the lights. And by now, I guess you've surmised that my two worlds consisted of the hearing and deaf communities. In the deaf community, I am considered a coda, child of deaf adults. My mom and dad would have 6 children, and I've always assumed that my parents, Archie and Gloria Marshall's fourth and successful attempt at having a girl, earned me my mother's name with a twist. Add an A and call me Gloriana. My between two worlds also meant that I was sandwiched in between 5 brothers. 4 months prior to my birth, my parents would move from St. Ferdinand to Palm Street, just 2 doors away from Beaumont High School. And growing up in both the hearing and deaf cultures, I never thought it a strange place until somebody would ask me questions about deafness. The kids in the neighborhood simply accepted me the way that I was. But every now and then, they would say, I bet you all could get away with a lot of stuff, right? No. When I reflect on my beginnings, I realize what an amazing life I had growing up. Yes, it was coupled with challenges and creative ways of managing life, a little different from my friends with hearing parents. Let me just name a few. Making and interpreting complex calls that a typical adolescent or teenager had no concept of. Correcting the ignorance of those who would question whether or not my parents were deaf and dumb or deaf mutes. Asking me, how did I learn to talk? Our home was equipped with doorbells with flashing lights. Our babysitters were deaf. Again, I always felt that my childhood was pretty normal, such as the rightfully earned or not so rightfully earned whoopings, our must-do Saturday morning chores before spending the day at the YMCA. Now, academic excellence was expected and nothing short of the norm. And books, magazines, newspapers, encyclopedias were in no short supply. And as early as I can remember, every night before bedtime, my father would read to me my stories and sign to me my ABCs and 1, 2, 3s and signs. As I entered school and matriculated up, completion of homework before play was the rule. We ate together and conversed around the kitchen table. And our family would play games that would trigger logic and strategic thinking, board games like chess and checkers and Scrabble. We would play card games like bid whist. My mother was a skilled seamstress, an awesome cook, and a fantastic stay-at-home mom who insisted that I learn some basic culinary skills like how to cut a chicken up correctly to include the wishbone. And I proudly wore the clothes that she taught me to sew. My dad was an avid reader. And every morning, he would often wake us up reciting Shakespeare and poems from Robert Frost, you know, the one about road less traveled, and singing the impossible dream in that deaf voice of his. Home was also a gathering place for many in the deaf community, and tucked in a corner of a room, I found myself trying to decipher the conversations flowing from those rapid hand signs and gestures and finger-spelled words. And the gut belly laughter that came out would lead me to ask, what was so funny? When I matriculated out of high school and entered as the first female class into Amherst College, 1,126.17 miles away from home, it became apparent how different my world was from my classmates. It started with that first phone call home. in the presence of friends calling and talking to their parents. The feeling was indescribable. The power of those moments would make an indelible mark in my life forever. I was too far away to go home for the weekends, and to talk to my parents through my brother was such a drag. Personal conversations would have to be penned, and the impact of that difference would be magnified through a theater class assignment. Create a mask to represent a specific character, act out that character and engaging with others in the class. The mask I created had no mouth and no ears. Wow! And in that instance, I learned 4 things. There's discomfort in the unknown. Most were unwilling to get to know or communicate with someone different from themselves. My character and my work was unfairly judged, and being shut out was a very lonely place. And in that moment, my parents' unspoken fears and frustrations and experiences with bigotry and ignorance crystallized for me. And in conclusion, and fast forward some 35 years later, never would I have imagined in my early 20s that the skills and life experience acquired growing up would eventually become my tools of awareness, empowerment, and source of income. Yes, I stand on the shoulders of my deaf parents, who taught and exhibited discipline, challenged us to be better than average, accountable for our actions, and to leave a positive imprint. My life between 2 worlds has been nothing short of an awesome blessing. Thank you.